Hey there, it's the Machine of Nonsense, episode 123.
Boom.
Yes, I got it. God, I'm so good at this,
Easy
guys.
1, 2, 3, buddy.
Episode 123 of the Machine of Nonsense. I'm your host, Eric, joined as always by Kayla.
Hey.
And we got Mike.
Guess what my lucky number is, Eric?
8.
It's 11.
Oh, that's pretty good. No longer a guest, just a straight-up contributor to this podcast. It's D.
Yo.
He's here. So, Mike made a little joke about the number 7. That might come up in this pod, because this is the 7 out of 10 podcast. We are doing the best, most, kinda, sorta, good stuff that is 7 out of 10. We'll get into that in just a minute, but before that, we got a lot. It's been a while since we've potted, so we gotta kind of do some stuff here. We've got to see what the total is on our video game draft. We've a lot of games have come out since the last time we've done the podcast, so I want the up to the minute scores right now on our video game draft. So far, we've got, so if you don't remember, if you didn't listen to that episode or any of the subsequent episodes, myself, Kayla, Aaron, and Mike all drafted 10 upcoming video games from this year. So far, 5 have released on my list, 4 on Kayla's, 4 on Aaron's, and only 1 on Mike's list, but it was a doozy. So, the up-to-the-minute scoring at this point, team name, the Sauntering Xenomorphs. That's Aaron's team. He's got 37 fantasy points. Hogwarts Legacy scored an 84, so that's worth 14 points. Like a Dragon Ishin was worth 11 fantasy points. Fire Emblem Engage was also 11, and Destiny 2 Lightfall was worth a solid 1 point for Aaron. So that's 37 points for Aaron right now. Mike had a single game come out, but it was worth 28 fantasy points. The quadruple triad, Nelson's team, is currently at 28 points with only 1 game released, and that's Metroid Prime Remastered, sitting at a 94 open critic score. Pretty sick. The highest rated game of anything drafted so far.
My final pick, by the way.
Final pick? He got in the 10th round, folks. That's value. That is value. Team Uncharted Territory, that was Kayla's team. She got the second highest game so far. That's Resident Evil 4 Remake, critical score of 92, worth 24 points. Dead Space Remake, in the year of remakes, 89 critic score for 19 fantasy points. Forspoken wasn't great, -3 points. Dead Island 2 was worth 5 points, so Kayla's sitting on a nice 44 fantasy points with 4 games. That's an 11-point average, folks. Skitch and Fox Mulder, my team, we released Horizon Forbidden West Burning Shores. That was worth 11 fantasy points. Atomic Heart, a game you might hear more about today on this episode, was worth 4 fantasy points. The critics give it a 74. You might say I give it a 7 out of 10. MLB The Show 23, a solid 11 points for me on that one. Advance Wars 1+2 Reboot Camp, worth also 11 fantasy points. That came out today. Octopath Traveler 2 was worth 15. So I'm sitting on 52 fantasy points, but I also have the most games released. So it's 52 points for me, 44 for Kayla, 37 for Aaron, and 28 for Mike. But Mike has only placed a single game at this point. Pretty nuts.
Got 2 coming pretty hot and heavy, though.
Yeah.
Redfall and
pretty sick. We've got a insane release calendar coming up. So today, the 21st of April as we record this. Dead Island 2 and Advance Wars 1+2 Reboot Camp just hit, but between now and the end of July, we have Star Wars Jedi Survivor, Redfall, The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, Street Fighter 6, Diablo 4, Final Fantasy 16, and Pikmin 4. That's it's gonna be a lot of points for a lot of people. Mike has 3 games coming out in that time. So it's going to be fun. Yeah. It's going to be a lot of fun. Hopefully all of Mike's games are not good. I don't know.
Don't we have a swap out or something like that? What was the rule on that?
Yeah. I think we allowed a single swap out of a game.
Okay, cool.
I know one of Aaron's games that he drafted is not supposed to come out this year, so
yeah, you should swap that out.
He should swap that out. He should probably swap that out. He drafted the Wolf Among Us 2, and that game is probably not coming out this year. So
I don't think Rebirth might be coming out this year, so I might have to.
No.
I might have to ship that one out.
See, maybe we'll have an episode where we'll do it live. We'll do a live swap out sesh.
Yeah, because we'll have to do it with enough time for an unreleased game to be picked, right? We can't pick a released game already.
Right, yeah. So
yeah, maybe that's like an E3-ish thing that we do, like some new stuff gets announced and we can, we have new dates, we can re-up.
Yeah, E3, I'm not familiar with that. Is that...
You know what I'm talking about. The Summer Game Fest, it's a festival.
Oh, yeah, I know that.
Summer Game Fest.
Yeah, Summer Game Fest. I've heard of that. That actually happens every year.
That sounds like a real thing.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Video games, We're going to talk about some video games, but first, let's get to what everyone's been up to. D, you might as well start us off. I know the last time we talked, you had just beaten Horizon, right? The first Horizon, and we're moving on to Forbidden West. Is that right?
Yes.
How's that going?
So far, so good. I am not crazy deep in it yet. So it's just feeling familiar, and I'm doing the thing with just, look at all this stuff. Maybe not get overwhelmed with all this stuff and pay attention to the story, Demetrius.
It's so dense.
It's incredibly dense.
Oh my god.
I have to slow down. I was overleveled in the first one because I didn't know that's what you just needed to story first and then do things. So yeah, that was I learned a lot of cheese early on too. Anyway, long story short, I'm trying to get into the story, and it's hard because I just want to go exploring.
Yeah, there's a lot to see in that one. That is an insanely big game.
I'm excited. And then the other one is me and the wife were playing the Untitled Goose Game. That was a little. Yeah.
Is that just a meme kind of game, or is it pretty fun? Is it good?
It's actually kind of fun. I think it scratches 2 itches for me because I do love me a good meme, but also it's just like this perfect blend of like art style and just indie wackiness of like, you're a goose. The first thing they're like, you do a picnic, and I'm like, do a picnic? And you're just stealing stuff to make a picnic, and then you move on with your life because you're a goose and you just got other things to do. And it's a very like, do the thing. There's some hidden objectives. Move on to the next thing, but all terrorizing people the whole time. It was super fun.
Have you ever played Donut County, D?
Donut County? No, I've not.
Oh man, check it out. It's on everything. It's on mobile. It's like reverse Katamari. It's like you're a hole and you're just like absorbing everything and getting bigger and eating up bigger things. And it's
you had me at reverse Katamari. Which I'm also excited for the new Katamari coming out, but that's a separate thing.
Nice.
Yes. Hell yeah.
Kayla, we've been checking out quite a bit. I definitely want to mention that we're gonna be on a real British kick because we're gonna go to London next month, and we're gonna try to check out a bunch of like London set things. And we checked out Rye Lane on Hulu. It's a small indie British comedy, like rom-com. And it's a lot of fun. It's like it was like pretty quick, right? It's like 90-minute type movie.
A real fun kind of like meet cute. And see where it takes you, see what happens, kind of wild ride with exes and stuff like that. Rye Lane,
yeah.
I need to get Hulu again. Yeah, I think there's like a Hulu Showtime bundle kind of thing going on or something through there, so I need to check that out.
Highly recommend it. It's just like a throwback, like Kayla said, it's a meet cute. Both are like dealing in their own ways with like recent breakups, and like these two people kind of run into each other and have it's like a one day in the city kind of movie, and it's set in London, and it kind of shows the cool. I think the woman is like Jamaican heritage, because she like at one point they like go to a very like Jamaican kind of like neighborhood and stuff in London, and it's really it's
chicken, red stripe,
yeah it's pretty cool. It's just like, if that's what like London neighborhoods and shit are about, hell yeah. It's cool. I'm excited. So I can't recommend it enough. It was real fun. What else did we?
You guys finished Chia, right?
We did finish Chia. Yeah, that was cool. That was a nice
and one.
Blanc. We played Blanc. Right. That's right.
Nice.
Blanc was quick.
We did in one sitting.
Yeah, just like
perfect.
Like an hour and a half, basically. Mm-hmm. Yeah. What'd you think of it?
I liked it. It's real simple. It's not a game I've really played before. Something that's kind of just like a moving sim. Is that what I would call it? I mean, kind of like run around and slide and run and help the wolf get up higher because you're a deer and you're taller. You got legs for days. And
I assumed it was kind of like Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons, or kind of like where you're just helping the other get to the, lower the bridge for the other person, get them across that way.
So mellow. It's a very, very mellow,
cozy
game. Yeah, it's simple.
And there's really very few mechanics in it. So there's like super minor puzzle solving. Like, so Brothers, or like what's the one we like, the It Takes Two, are like way advanced in terms of like their mechanics or
really
the stuff it's doing. This one is really a vibes, really just a moving through these environments. Great slide mechanic. You can just like run and slide on the snow and stuff. It's all in black and white, and it's snowy, and I played as the wolf, and Kayla played as the doe.
Did they seem to like move differently or at a different speeds or anything, or were they just kind of
the same? But the biggest thing was like height, and you're kind of on a different trail. Like one's up high and one's down low, and you kind of have to figure out how to get down or up.
Yeah, and the wolf pup's like smaller, so like I could get in smaller things, and Kayla's like fawn was like taller and bigger. She could like jump up on the taller things and stuff like that. So that was like the main kind of mechanic of it, was like, okay, we see that you can go there, and I could probably go there, and somehow we're gonna meet in the middle, kind of thing. It was on sale on Switch for $12, I think. I think the regular price is like $14.99, and it was like $3 off or something. So, fun way to spend a couple hours.
Spend a night.
Yeah.
Spend a Sunday morning, something.
I think that Valentine's release was pretty cool. Like, it was play this with your partner on release night or Valentine's night, and just you beat it that night. You get to experience the whole thing.
Yeah, it's an experience, and then you're done. You don't have to continue
replay it or anything.
It'd be good for kids too, I think. Like it's anyone, like even if you're not very controller literate, I think like you could probably still play it
Yeah, it's
for the most
simple.
part. And yeah, cool
But
art
besides
style.
Blanc, we did play Chia. We finished Chia as well. That was cool. Much more lively and bright and
He is so cool.
fun, wacky story. Just kind of different and creative characters. We watched Rylane. We watched Notting Hill.
Yeah,
we
we did.
watched Fleabag.
Oh,
Kayla, did you like Fleabag?
I did like Fleabag.
Oh man, I love Fleabag.
I liked it a lot. I feel like that is how you end a show.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That is.
Two and flew, you know, as they say.
And I remember like 2 episodes were left, but Eric told me it was only 1. So I was like, how are they gonna? This is impossible. They can't wrap it up. But with 2 at that point, like they really did it. It was just everything got like, all right, she left him and is going for that person, and this is going on here, and it just felt so completed.
Hell yeah. I think Phoebe Waller-Bridge, it might be my favorite like comedic performance. Like her character. I don't know.
She was so facially expressive, like just yeah, she was good. I enjoyed her a lot.
it makes me really excited for whatever her Lara Croft thing is gonna be. Like she's gonna be the
so
like,
weird.
I'm kind of excited because like if she makes it just like
some of that in there, yeah,
weird quippy Lara Croft, like old school PlayStation 1 Lara Croft. Like
she's not gonna be Lara, right? She's just like
I don't
involved
think
in
she's
so.
it.
just showrunner, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, it's a show. Okay. Yeah, maybe that could be cool.
Yeah. Pretty sure it's a series. I guess I don't know 100%. I've in my mind I thought I had heard it was a series.
It's weird. She was gonna do that Mr. and Mrs. Smith thing with Donald Glover.
Ooh,
And
that would have been so good.
That's still happening, but without Phoebe.
Oh.
Aw.
She's in the new
Yeah,
Bond.
she's gonna be in Indiana Jones.
Or yeah,
so-
Bond. I said Bond. Indiana Jones. Same. You know.
So it'd be nice to see her again. I feel like I watched that show a few years ago, and I haven't seen her in anything really since. So
It's
I'm
good.
itching.
Yeah, she was fantastic. That was been too long on my backlog. I think I should have watched that when it came out. It's real good.
But it's good for the London flair.
It was. It was.
Yeah, hell yeah. Our patron saint, Olivia Colman. And if she's not officially, she should be.
She should be.
But yeah, I've kind of watched nothing but sevens and played sevens recently. I think.
Yeah, what you been up to?
We watched a movie called Alice Darling with Anna Kendrick.
Okay.
We rented it on Prime, and it's kind of like certainly a COVID-y kind of project. There's only like 4 characters in the movie, 5 maybe, and she's kind of in this emotionally, verbally abusive relationship with this artist, and she's has to lie to him to go on this like weekend getaway with her friends and stuff, and it's her just kind of dealing with what her shit, you know. And that's like the whole movie, and it was just like, oh yeah, that was a 7, you know. Let's see. Oh, I thought there was another movie, but probably a great 7, Kenna, Bridge of Spirits, which was added to the PlayStation games catalog. And I've only played a little of it, but I can already tell, like, man, this looks great, and it plays like a PS2 game, and that makes it a 7. You know, even if it's good, it's just like it's a 7. Watching some fucking 10 out of 10 shit. Barry and Succession have
Oh
been
yeah, we watched Barry.
We did watch.
fantastic so far. Man, Barry is just so good. It's so weird, and the surreal stuff in it, mixed with just the human stories. God, I love that show.
Did you listen to the Prestige
No,
podcast?
I didn't. Was it good with Fennessy and Hader?
And yeah, Bill's a weird dude. Bill Hader's a weird dude. Yeah.
Yeah, he is.
I dig
Weird,
it.
dude.
I dig
I
that he's
heard
just Barry, kind of.
Right. I've heard that he wants to make his own horror movie eventually, and that would be awesome to see.
Inside the mind of Bill Hader, that might be spooky. He might just
Right,
be,
right, because
yeah.
Barry can be scary at times.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Barry makes you kind of like,
uneasy. at
yes,
times. Yeah.
uncomfortable in your own skin. Like, oh.
Yeah, but Succession, best fucking show. Watch the show, everyone listening, everyone here. It's great. What they're doing this season so far has been just fucking top notch shit. And just to stay on HBO a little bit, like I know we were kind of weirded out. I know I've talked to some of you about the changing it to Max, like getting rid of the HBO kind of it all, but then they dropped these cool fucking trailers for shit recently with True Detective, and man, there was another one too. I'm blanking.
The Sympathizer.
Maybe that was it.
That's the
Yeah.
Robert Downey
Watergate
Jr.
one,
playing
too?
4 different roles. That one looked really interesting. It's like a
Spy.
Vietnam
yeah,
spy.
I didn't even hear about that. Wow.
Oh
okay.
yeah. It's some kind of Vietnam era spy.
He's
Dark
like
comedy,
in
I think?
disguises all the time.
Yeah, he plays 4 different like characters. I guess Robert Downey Jr.
Is that the Watergate one too? Also on Max.
The
Justin
White House
Theroux-
plumbers.
Yeah.
I forget
That's
if
the
that
Woody
was
Harrelson one.
Yeah,
right?
Woody Harrelson.
That looks
yeah.
cool.
Yeah, a lot of good stuff coming up. We're getting more House of the Dragon-ish stuff, apparently.
Fun fact: House
Yeah.
of the Dragon, Homie Hightower.
Oh
know?
God!
Right? You're
Otto
picturing him.
Hightower.
Otto
Oh, yeah.
Hightower is the flatmate in Notting Hill. The like
Spike.
super weird dude with the like always in his underwear and like
Oh God!
super British.
Yeah. Okay.
It's
Wow.
That's
intense.
Otto Hightower. Fun fact.
It was a weird revelation seeing that. It was it was
God, hope Julia didn't wear any open-toed shoes around that fella.
No, that's the other dude, right?
All right. Oh, we're talking about the kicker from The Replacements. Gotcha. Right. Now I understand. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, same guy. Yep. I forgot he was in The Replacements too.
I had the other weirdo guy. They're all weird in that show. Yeah.
A lot of weirdos in that
Group of
show.
Weirdos.
Did we have anything else before we get to 7 out of 10?
I had something else, but let's move on. Let's get to the 7.
Let's get to the 7s. So I recently played a game, and I'll talk about it in detail here in a second. But it hit me. It gave me this idea for this episode because it was like, man, this is aggressively a 7 out of 10. Like this is like a hell of a swing, a hell of an attempt, but like you landed at a 7 out of 10, and I was like, we need to talk about this. We need to, because like I feel like rating anything super subjective, right? Like everyone's got their own kind of like rating scale, what is it or whatever. IGN recently came out with an article about like, oh, we only really do like 7 to 10s. Most of our reviews are 7 to 10s because like 7 kind of tends to be like the baseline, like, oh, this is playable. This is like released and people will play this and people might like this if you're of a certain type. But yeah, obviously it's like subjective, right? So I think it's a great place to start a conversation. Then we'll kind of do some nominees on what we all think are good 7 out of 10s. But I want to go around the room and kind of ask you guys like how you define a 7 out of 10 when you're thinking about a game, a movie, a show, whatever. Like what comes to mind? What's like your criteria when you say like, yeah, this is like a 7? And I started with D earlier. I might as well start with you again, and we'll go into like a, I don't know what, counterclockwise, whatever. We'll do the Discord thing. I don't even think it looks the same for all you guys,
Yeah,
but D is below me, and then Mike is to the like left of D, and then Kayla's above D. So
okay.
D,
We have the same layout.
Start it off.
How do I change?
Okay.
How do I shuffle?
Yeah. Okay. So we're this is just conceptually what is a 7 out of 10.
Yeah.
I think 7 out of 10 is partially what you said earlier, is where they take a big swing at something. So it's like it's either like a concept, a story beat, some kind of mechanic, and then it kind of hits. Like they don't miss, but it kind of hits. So like if they go for, hey, we're gonna do revolutionary, real time combat in a complicated JRPG, and then it's still basically turn based, with some action elements kind of sprinkled in there. Looking at you,
And
Final
a bad
Fantasy.
story.
and then a bad story. I'm looking at you, Star Ocean.
Oh, no.
Oh no, we're getting into 6 range, D. Let's bump it up.
But yeah, like that's
Tales
kind
of
of
series. We'll mention those.
oh god, so much potential. Oh, but yeah, that.
Good. Yeah, I like it. I like the JRPG angle. Mike, how about you? What's a 7?
I like what D said about it. A 7 kind of maybe even just doing something really good and just different and cool. But I also think that our nostalgia for stuff, when we maybe just had one thing or only a couple DVDs, couple games, maybe a
Back
couple
in the
channels
day,
here and
yeah.
there. Right. And these 7s to us were 10s back then, most of the time. But now you got to remove the subjectivity and the objectivity of things. and you got to, that's a 7, but it's a 7 I love and I own it and it's good.
I love that take. I like that. I did not think much about the nostalgia take, but that's really good.
Kind of, as far as I kind of stuck to more recent things because of that. Because when I do think back about like, oh, I love these movies, but I don't even want to look at what their score is because it's probably real bad. So I kind of
I looked. Trust me, I looked.
I also looked.
Was I supposed to fact check? These are
No,
just I think they're 7s,
Yeah,
right?
I was
Okay.
curious.
Yeah.
Morbid curiosity.
But for me, a 7 is like, I didn't love it. I liked it. It was good. But I didn't love it. And like an 8 for me is something is like, I really liked it, but I have a few complaints. 9 is like, maybe a lesser of complaints. And of course, 10 is none. So for me, it's like, this is something watchable, that's good, that like might be a little cringy, might be a little like boring. It's got like something holding it back.
I like that. I like start with a 10 and then kind of chip away and then it becomes a 7.
That's how I was like, oh, did I love this? No, I kind of liked this. This is a kind of like list.
I dig that. For me, like a 7 is like the base of something that I would maybe recommend to you. Like if I'm like sitting down with like Mike, hey man, have you seen whatever? Have you ever played whatever? Yeah. And it's like if it was below a 7, I wouldn't even mention. I don't even like, unless it's for shits and giggles or something. But if it's a 7, I can say like, at least I might know someone, like it's niche or something. It's like, oh, if you like horror movies, this movie's not great, but it's an okay horror movie or whatever. Or like, if you like shoot 'em ups or something, like this video game is a solid, like you'll enjoy your 5 hours with it or whatever, that kind of thing. But
and when
it's
you
like,
meet someone who's like, yeah, I have seen or played that thing, it can sometimes be a more interesting conversation than talking about a 10 out of 10 perfect thing or something. So.
Yeah, everyone fucking loves Pulp Fiction. It's boring to talk about at some point, right? Like,
right.
But, Yeah, that's good. So yeah, it's like the base level for, I'm even going to bring it up in conversation is like a 7 or something. Otherwise, if I play something or I watch something and I'm just like, I didn't dig this, just not even going to like, I might tell someone to just don't fucking check this out, like that kind of thing. But where should we start on our list? So I've broken, at least my list, I've broken down into like shows, movies, and video games. I found shows to kind of be the hardest to come up with stuff, because I think with like shows, for me at least, if I'm not digging it, I'm just not going forward with it. So it kind of needs to be at least a 7 for me to watch enough of it to then rate it. So that's how that kind of worked out for me. Maybe that's a good place to start. What do you guys think?
That's where I started when making my lists. I also thought it was the most difficult to make.
Actually, you know what? Hold that thought, because before we do it, I actually polled the community, our Monstars community, and they had some answers for what their version of 7 out of 10s were. So I want to share some of those. We had nominated the Divergent series, Morbius, the Hunger Games series. Those are all things, right? Yeah. Oh man, where?
I like the concept of a series being just like a 7. Like I started thinking like the Lego games are kind of just 7s,
I got some series / franchises in my list.
Ooh,
nice.
Like it. Jurassic Park 3, Beautiful Joe, Smash Brothers in its entirety. I think that'll anger some people. Maybe that means like averaging out, like like the good and the bad. I don't know. And then we also had the Arrowverse as a whole, except Flash season 1 and Arrow season 2. So I guess those are the watchable ones, but the rest of the Arrowverse is a solid 7. So you got some thoughts, Steve?
I have thoughts on that one. I have thoughts.
But that's a very wide range of stuff. A lot of that, I know, like Beautiful Joe, for example. I think that's like some people's favorite game of all time. That's like a game that's held in super high esteem for some people, but for some people it's a 7 out of 10.
I think that's a great 7 out of 10 nomination. Something that has a lot of flash, a lot of style to it, but also a lot of frustration and pain with playing through that game as well. So I can understand that.
That's a good one. So yeah, on to shows, and I guess I'll throw one out there. I had Hawkeye pretty high on my list. The recent MCU TV show Hawkeye. I think there were some really things that I could recommend about it. I thought like Kate Bishop was charming. I think God, what's the actor's name?
Jeremy Renner. Haley Steinfeld.
Haley Steinfeld, right? Yeah. Like,
Yep.
I think she's uber talented. She's funny. She's like charming, and I think she's great for the role. And she was like athletic and like able to do all the action stuff and looked cool doing all that. And there were some interesting things with like disability, like Jeremy Renner's character like has been through all the wars and now he's got like a hearing impairment and stuff. They did some really cool stuff, but overall I left the series as like, man, this didn't move the needle for the MCU. It didn't like I guess it's a wrap up for like the Hawkeye character, like the Jeremy Renner version of the Hawkeye character.
Yeah. Definitely a passage.
But not really. Like I could also see him come back in something easily, like I didn't feel like it did anything at the end of the day, but like the moment to moment there's like a really cool like 360 shot I remember that they did in a like maybe the first episode. And yeah, they brought back the Kingpin and everything, and there was some things to recommend, but overall,
the LARPing, man, the LARPing,
the LARPing, yes.
What about the LARPing?
It was poo poo doo doo.
What? That's totally accurate, obviously.
I mean, role models. Everyone's just chasing role models, right? The LARPing and role models.
It should have died there. It should have. We don't need those people don't need to feel seen. All right. They don't want to be seen. They want to be out in the wilderness, away. But
LARPing,
yeah,
7 out of 10.
True.
7 out of 10.
I think that's a great call. I would
I
think
agree.
the MCU TV stuff, like as an average, would probably be a 7. If I would, put all the scores together, probably.
Mm-hmm.
With one spike.
You're right.
With one spike.
There's a spike. Oh, there's a spike.
2 or 3 spikes for me. She-Hulk, Wanda, and Loki, of course.
Of course.
I like this.
Loki might be fucking. Who gives a fuck now because of the stuff going on here with the Kang? We might have to disband the Kang gang, guys.
Oh no! Don't bring it up. No.
I think we set up the wrong impression with it. I feel like it's a little aggressive, and we should
On the
dial
Kang
it
gang,
back.
he heard us and he was like, "Man, I can't let these people down."
Right. I feel like we should at least rename. I don't know. Maybe we should veer a little. Hop off the train.
Jonathan
I don't know.
Major's 7 out of 10 human being. Am I right? I don't know.
I think
Sad.
you're being too nice. But
Careful.
anyway, yeah, MCU stuff. 7s.
Oh, okay.
We just took on the franchise, the Marvel TV shows.
Man.
7 out of 10.
Yeah, so no
I
one
like
else
that.
can. No
I like
one else
that.
can pick one. Yeah, no.
Oh no, not at all.
It'll
Not at
help.
all.
It'll help
7.
the argument here.
They're on my
no.
7.
No, what you have, D?
Actually, it's still in that wheelhouse. I was looking through stuff. I was thinking about things, trying to keep it more recent for some of these. And with this, I thought Star Wars Visions was my 7 out of 10 TV series.
That's a good pick.
It was so solid, but because it was this weird, disjointed anthology where there wasn't really like a theme for the anthology other than Star Wars stuff, we got a lot of really good, like, wow, they took the concept and they went running, and some they were just like, I slept through most of this. I don't know what's going on at all.
I like that.
So it was just the varying enjoyment for me, and the really high highs. It's definitely, like you said, something I would recommend to someone, and it being kind of like the experimental, we're gonna do anime now, sort of, Star Wars attempt.
But that first episode, man. God.
Ooh, it was beautiful.
That Ronin one. And then we got cool pod racers in the second episode. I really liked it. I like like you said, big swing. They took swings. I liked it.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good call. What do you feel about it getting a second season?
Oh, I didn't know that.
I think the best part of it, having such a solid start, there's a bar there now, right? So now everyone's like, this is what we were vibing with, this is what we were feeling. The other stuff, not so much, or maybe elevated. So there's a precedent now for like what to expect out of it. So now, can they even push it up a little and make the whole, compilation, the whole anthology? Is it going to be, on a different level as a whole, as opposed to, well, there's a few more, golden eggs in there mixed in with some, I don't know why they're apples here with eggs, but they're there.
Yeah, I get it. Sure.
It's a healthy, balanced breakfast.
Traditional breakfast of apple and eggs. Yes, I love it. Oh, good stuff. Yeah, I think that's soon. I think that Star Wars Visions is like maybe next month.
It's May. Yeah, I think it is May.
Yeah, it's real soon. So we'll see. Mike, what'd you have?
So we're just gonna do like one show per person, one movie.
Maybe for now, and then we can do speed round or something.
I'll pick my number one. I think I got a pretty good one, and I'm like the biggest HBO stan here, probably. Me or Eric, and I'm picking an HBO show here, and it's The Outsider.
Oh yeah, okay.
It was kind of like a spooky thriller series starring Jason Bateman, Cynthia Erivo, Ben Mendelsohn, and it starts out so great. And I should also say, probably spoilers for some of this stuff that we're going to be talking about.
That's a good call. Yeah.
Man, they kill Bateman in like episode 2, and then I don't know. And then it introduces like Cynthia Erivo after that, and then I don't know. It takes a real dip towards the end. It's like 2 episodes too long, I'd say, and something that could have been really great in that genre just turned out to be kind of just like a good 7, like a solid 7.
Yeah, I think you're definitely right about it overstaying its welcome a little bit. It seemed like they had maybe more ideas than they needed. The good stuff was good, though. I think I like the mystery of it all, the supernatural elements and stuff. And I really like Cynthia Erivo in that one. I thought she was really... I had never seen her in anything, and she plays like... She was like autistic, right? Like she had like some kind of... like spectrum
she
kind of...
She had magic, Eric.
Well, right, okay. But she was at least very, like, different. She was a different kind of,
for sure.
Woman. For sure. Yeah, and, but I thought she did it so well. Like, I thought she was, like, very, like, captivating for me. But, yeah, too long. Overstayed its welcome a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
Speaking of things being too long, for a TV show, I picked The Walking Dead. Because the first couple seasons are good, and then it doesn't stop. I have actually a couple of my shows on my list are just like, it ended, and then they kept going with just whatever they wanted. They just put it out there. Whatever. It didn't even have to make sense. So Walking Dead, though, specifically, like, I was hooked season 1, season 2, season 3, season 4 got a little too much, and then it just, once whatever Negan gets introduced, you're like, okay, but then Negan's been like the last 10 seasons or some shit. Like, okay, he's no longer like, it was a threat that they just can't let go of.
The main character now.
Yeah, but the first couple were great, and then they just did silly things.
Yeah, I think it's another one similar to like Game of Thrones where they kind of ran out of material. They started like they ate up all the like the long-running graphic novel and everything else. Very successful, tons of good stuff. I've read every issue, and they kind of like just ran out of material to kind of take and adapt. And once they started just doing their own thing, it was like, oh boy, you're off the rails a little bit here. But I've heard the couple of latter seasons are all right, but I just can't imagine watching. How many did they end up having? Like 12 or something seasons? Like insane.
Still not over yet, is it?
I think it just ended last year. Well, yeah, but they did Fear the Walking Dead, a spin-off.
Yeah, there's a lot of spin-offs, yeah.
They did like Nightwalker City or something. There's like at least 3 spin-offs. I think even Fear the Walking Dead has now ended. But there's still several like offshoots.
Damn, it was on for 12 years.
I thought that's what I thought. Like 12 seasons. Like
10 seasons in a movie. 10 seasons in a movie.
Is Nightwalker City like the humans are dead and the zombies are running like Vegas? Like it's the good version of Army of the Dead or whatever. Like,
and they're all prostitutes, yes.
Just zombies, fucking zombie debauchery.
I'd watch it. Oh, yeah.
Wow, 11 seasons it has.
Yeah. It
Too many.
felt like it, like, because it was just like happening in the background. It would just come out. I think we talked about it like 3 years ago on like one of the first podcasts we had. We were like, how does that keep going? You know, and it still just like had a fan base enough to like continue put it out and you know and do spinoffs and shit. Like,
Is AMC just kind of flatlined at this point? Like as having like a big it show, like they were doing so well with like, you know, Walking Dead, Mad Men, Breaking Bad, all at the same time.
Yeah.
And man, I haven't heard buzz around anything they've really done.
what was Saul still on AMC? Better Call Saul.
Okay, that's a good point. Okay, but then that's like another Breaking Bad thing, though. Like I don't know. That's over. So
That's a less than 7.
Kayla hated Breaking Bad.
Man.
Sure
Dang.
did.
I think that's the perfect example of a show that ended at the exact perfect time. That I thought that run was real good.
That's another fun episode. The 10 out of 10s that we think are not, you know, like,
I like it.
like the opposite. That'd be fun.
That is exciting.
I agree with Kayla.
Thank you, D.
Oh man, I got some Breaking Bad haters. Let's move on to movies. Maybe I don't know. We'll do a speed round at the end. You want to do games next, Kayla? That's fine.
Yeah.
I'm into
Okay,
games.
let's do games.
Hell yeah, let's do games. That's what started. I'll just throw it out there. It's the thing that like started this whole episode was I played Atomic Heart. It came to Game Pass. I was very excited for this game. It trailered fantastically well, and a lot of the shit that's in the trailer is the best parts of that game. It's fast. The combat is like insane. There are these. It's if you're not familiar, it's set in a alternate reality of the Soviet Union. It's like the 1970s or something. But if the Soviet Union, like after World War II, just figured out everything, like it's like the vision of what 1970 would be for someone who was living in like 1940, where they thought, oh, we're gonna have flying cars and robots and all kinds of things. Very BioShock inspired. Like it wears BioShock like all over itself. Like, and it doesn't. There's even there's a fucking lighthouse scene, and they like it's like it's they love BioShock, and it has a lot of that stuff. You've got like a glove that can shoot magic and a bunch of cool guns, and you're facing these larger than life robots, and you're oftentimes underground and everything else. And there's a fucking lighthouse at one point. But it just shoots itself so hard in the foot because it tries to be funny, and it's not funny.
What does he say all the time?
Crispy critters. Crispy critters. You're supposed to be this like Russian guy, this like Soviet Union dude or whatever, and his
like
his
an undercover spy, like a badass. You're like the head honcho's dude.
Yeah, like a KGB super secret agent or whatever. And every time something goes bad, he screams "crispy critters," and it just. It misses so hard, and you've got this talking... So many times, 100 times in the 20 hours that you play the game or whatever. You've got this talking glove that is constant, like, for whatever reason, you hate this fucking talking glove, even though it, like, gives you superpowers and sucks up items all in the world. It's like the coolest fucking piece of gadgetry ever, but you hate it for some reason, and all you do the whole game is just go back and forth, like the worst, and it's super vulgar too. Like you're just constantly fuck this, fuck that, crispy critters, fucking crispy fucking critters. Like it's just the like most vulgar. Like it is
screenwriting from our Russian brethren.
If like an 11-year-old group of friends, a bunch of 11-year-olds on the playground, like wrote game dialogue, this would be what this game is, and it's so frustrating because you're going through this game and there's these awesome set pieces. I played on the Series X. It like played really well. There were a couple bugs here and there. I got like caught on some like things, the environment or whatever, a couple times I had to reload. But like overall, you're in these like super frantic explosions everywhere, things flying at you, things coming from underground.
So many robots coming.
So many robots. You're shooting and everything else, and it's really cool.
Tiny bad guys.
Yeah, really good character design.
And don't know if you should trust them or not.
There's even like a pretty decent like story, like a pretty decent like spy story and stuff. But like, I can't say enough how much it just like shoots itself in the foot. And it's like the borderline of recommending it because like, oh, you like shooters and you like cool worlds and stuff. It even has like a really completely optional open world element, which I think is really cool, that you can interact with it if you want, or you can choose to mainline the story and it feels like you get the same out of it either way. But like, I can't really recommend it to people because it's like, man, you will hate what's coming out of this game. Like, it is just like, you will not enjoy any of the talking in this game because it's really bad. So yeah, it's a 7. It's a solid ass 7 game. So play it, but beware, it's on Game Pass, guys, and PC and other stuff. But yeah, Atomic Heart is my video game. What you got, D?
D's up next. Yeah.
Okay, 7. This is hard. I feel like I typically play 7s. But I feel like they're 10s. So I had to really think about this one.
Speak your truth.
I had to really think about this one for a while. So when I was I need to do a little research about timelines and stuff because I really wanted to kind of dig one out. And I found the name of it, and it's something that like I haven't gotten the same itch, like that same satisfying scratch out of a game, even though I had its problems, but it was Vanquish.
Ooh.
Now, Vanquish is the one where
Platinum?
you're a sort of super soldier in an Iron Man-ish suit. And one of the main game mechanics is you're boosting around with like little rockets and sliding around and fighting robots. And it's a shooter over the shoulder game. And there's these really cool like interwoven like bullet time stuff and really kind of fun, unique weapon play. And it almost has like a DMC-esque like weapon switching thing in there. So like it's almost those cool action game elements in a shooter. But it just doesn't commit to any one of those things at all in the game. A lot of the cool stuff is hidden behind a very short meter that you can use. The level design gets repetitive. The enemies get repetitive. But it is so much fun, though, when you kind of like, oh, this is a combo I haven't tried before, and this works, and it just cleared the area, and that's awesome. And I love a game with bullet time. Give me a game with any kind of bullet time in it. Woo! Well, but the story, it's, you know, you're in space United States fighting space terrorists. It's really just not that deep. So, I mean, the story is kind of like the biggest thing lacking for me. But I mean, like the gameplay and the mechanic hook was so good that I did end up replaying it a couple times, if I'm being honest.
It looks really pretty. I'm looking at screenshots. Like, it looks polished as hell.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's really polished. It did get a remaster with a re-release of Bayonetta. Like, they came out in like a little dual package. And I was surprised because I was like, really? This game's getting a remaster? Like, okay, I'll take it. And then I played it and I was like, it's smoother. Like, there's some things in it in the OG that just were choppy, or, you'd not be able to turn around a corner a certain way, like little stuff like that. It had a lot of potential as like a concept for a game, but it doesn't really take it much farther than, shooty pow pow.
I see it's directed by Shinji Mikami, the Resident Evil guy.
Yes.
That's nuts. Oh, that's cool. Man,
I don't know. I think that was one that was like at the time a 7 because people were dinging it for like its length. Everyone wanted long ass fucking games at that time. They wanted everything to be fucking Oblivion.
50 hours.
And I don't know. I think now that is like a really big cult classic now. Still belong with the 7, but like a high esteem 7. I think it fits well.
The most 7, maybe some might say. Good choice. I was unaware of that one. That's exciting.
Yeah, I do recommend it though. Play it. It's fun.
I remember like a lot of sick rocket sliding around gameplay stuff that I saw from that. Yeah.
Sweet. What you got, Mike?
So the grand champion of 7 out of 10 game for me for the last few years was Control. Because it just ran like ass butt on my base Xbox One. It was rough at times. It was just unfair parts in the game with like this just weird bugginess and clippiness that I was experiencing. Since then, I've played it again on my upgraded Xbox, and it's not a 7 out of 10. That game is fucking rad as fuck. It's great.
Yeah.
So now the returning champion is The Order 1886 for me.
Oh man, good pick.
The Ready at Dawn PS4 joint, RIP Ready at Dawn. This game just had probably still the best looking fucking like effects and shit. Maybe Returnal or something has usurped it, but man, they just made a really cool concept. Big swing, like Dee said earlier. You're like Victorian steampunk Knights of the Round Table against fucking werewolves. And you have like
cool.
It's what Galahad's the one like makes all your cool fucking gadgets and your weapons and shit. And another game like Vanquish, it was dinged for being really short. But now I think it's really like the length is really great. It's like, a quick 8 to 10 hour kind of thing, if that. And it's just pretty neat. It's really cool. It still looks really good. But it's not really perfect. It's got some cool lore. The performances aren't great in it. And we'll never probably see more of it, which I think kind of adds to the 7-ness of it, because they were kind of building up to something cool.
Yeah, it definitely felt like that was gonna have a sequel, and then just it doesn't.
Right.
Yeah, I liked that game a lot. You're probably right that it's a 7, but it's a thoroughly enjoyable game.
Yeah. What you got, Kayla?
Can I make you guys try to guess mine if I give you clues? I don't know why.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Fun. Hell yeah, let's play.
Yeah.
Because this is where my franchise comes in.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So there's obviously many of these games. I don't know if I've ever finished one of them. Played many of them. Never finished one. The opposite, or maybe onto the same key of what you guys have been saying, these games are so long. They're not very different. They just take places in different settings.
Oh no.
A Zelda?
No.
Is it the Soulsborne series?
No.
Okay,
no,
God.
no.
I was like, oh no.
I was like, man, this one's gonna be an easy one to
I
guess.
don't want
guys.
a divorce.
Is it something that's really final?
Really final?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't think it's Final Fantasy.
Series.
No.
Oh, okay.
No, I have
Man.
very little experience.
Okay.
Well,
Okay, you've played a bunch of them.
there are a bunch of them. I've played many of them. I've never finished one. I don't know if any of us have. I mean, I think you guys probably have.
You
I
don't
know,
like-
Eric, you have.
I know you don't like GTA,
No, I don't like GTA.
so I don't even think you'd give it
Not a
the
7.
benefit of a 7. Right.
Yeah, It's not MLB The Show. You wouldn't hurt me that way.
No.
So, oh,
It's been out
gosh.
for, I would say, over a decade. There's been these.
Okay.
A bunch of games in a decade.
Bunch of them. There's so many.
Borderlands,
There's even a movie. It's a bad movie. I don't think Eric would probably give it a 7, but
Assassin's Creed.
yeah.
Oh.
I think that's a good call.
It's
There's
not a
been
bad
so
call.
many of them.
It's
There's
not a
so
bad
many
call.
of them. They're so long. They're fun. They're fun for a while, but you don't really do anything different in any of them. Like, yeah, sure, you might go to a different place, or you might be on a ship, or you might be a Viking, but it's still all the same. It's just the same. It's just all the same to me, and you like it, but also you have to put the 30 hours in to get powerful enough to get to the end of the story that you never get to because 50 other games came out in the 4 months you poured into this, and now you got to move on.
She's speaking from exact experience. That's very specific.
I loved Eivor, but I have no idea what her end of her story is.
Oh, that is a good call. I think
a 7 for me.
You're probably right in the grand scheme of things.
They're fun. They're pretty.
Yeah.
I like going back into history and seeing those things and doing those things, but it's very the same in all of them.
It's interesting. I think it's like the longer that it's gone on, it has like kind of, and not that the games themselves have diminished, because that last one was pretty cool, that Viking one or whatever else. By itself is pretty solid game, at least like an 8 or something. But like when taken with, to even like experience this game, I would have had to have played 500 hours of like Assassin's Creed or something to even like. That's like, yeah, that's
right.
fucking a lot. And I've done it. I've played the 500 hours myself, but like I get that's a good call. That's a really good call, I think.
Just to piggyback on that, the opposite end, I'm so glad I stopped where I did, because Brotherhood could just remain a fucking 9 banger in my head, like forever. And I think if I would have gone all the way through like Odyssey and stuff, it's like, yeah, Odyssey's really good, and it's like it's a lot like Brotherhood, or it's a lot like Black Flag, or it's a lot
as
like
a
Syndicate.
whole, it is a 7.
No.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's fun.
As much as I've played all the series and enjoyed my time with it, I've also said that it should have stopped at 3. They had a good ending. Like they legit ended the series at Assassin's Creed 3, and they've continued to go for 10 years. Like it's crazy.
Ubisoft stands for ubiquitous software.
Sure they do.
Needs to be ubiquitous.
Oh gosh, what a
no one looked up what that word means. No one. It makes sense.
I'm looking it up right now. I'll do it right now.
Oh gosh. All right. Movies then. And I got a bunch, but I'm gonna stick with the most recent one that came up in my mind, at least. The Last Jedi, Star Wars, The Last Jedi. Going into that movie as hyped as I've ever been as a Star Wars fan, loved The Force Awakens so much. Top 10 movie in for me. Loved all the new character, Rey and Kylo and Finn
BB-8.
and Poe and BB-8, and like, oh man, you introduced all these new characters, and now you're starting to do the like kind of Marvel humor, that like the MCU type humor. You're adding that into Star Wars in a way that it hasn't been in the past, and then The Last Jedi, just like purposefully, everyone says, oh, Rian Johnson's a genius for like disrupting the whole Star Wars universe or whatever else, but it just feels so disjointed to me. Like it seemed like J.J. Abrams and Kathleen Kennedy and whoever else was like running the show at Star Wars, like they were going in a direction after Force Awakens, and then they let Rian Johnson do whatever he wanted, and he took his big swing, and a lot of people love that movie. But for me, it just like it ruined kind of all my expectations and all of the things I wanted to like see, like where it left the franchise at that point. Was like, this is, and there's some cool shit still in that movie, like the throne room fight and like just all the conversations and stuff across like whatever force connection that like Kylo and Rey had, where they were talking to each other through the Force, and Luke coming back and confronting Kylo, and there's some cool shit, but there's also like an hour of Finn and old girl. I don't even know her name, unfortunately. Rose, maybe.
Yeah, I think you nailed it.
Yeah. Just kind of doing nothing, like doing like a little weird B plot that doesn't do anything with Captain Phasma, who just doesn't do anything, and for some reason also Benicio del Toro, who like could have been great in Star Wars, but was just kind of doing nothing. So it's just, I don't know. I think it's a mess in a lot of ways, but like there's 2 hours of a really cool ass movie, really cool ass Star Wars movie in that 3-hour movie. So yeah, The Last Jedi is my 7. On movies.
Huh.
It was like Ryan Johnson just read the IMDb summary of Force Awakens and then made a fucking movie afterwards. I don't know. They're like created in a vacuum away from each other, those two films. It's so weird to me that happened.
Yeah, and like if whatever. I mean, if Ryan Johnson had made the whole trilogy, it might have been cool if they weren't disjointed ideas,
Right.
Ryan Johnson does cool shit, but yeah, it's two different. What were they thinking? Anyway, D, what do you got for movies?
Huh. I thought I had a solid one in my head. I was looking at my little notes here I have here.
You had The Force Awakens after I just spread all my love on it.
I mean, it was it's on my list of ones I was thinking about. I just kind of wrote some down. I surprisingly had some Star Wars on there, but 7 out of 10 movie. This is where I was struggling because I don't really consume a lot of movies. So when I consume a movie, it's usually because I know for a fact I'm going to enjoy it. So finding a 7 out of 10 movie that I watched generally would be hard, but I remembered something. So there's 2 movies I watched specifically because of your guys' kind of like random recommendations and things like that. So the one I'm thinking about now, after watching it, is The Northman.
That was almost on my list. That's a good 7 out of 10.
The most 7 out of 10 movie I've watched recently that I enjoyed watching.
Yeah,
because it was just it was a palate cleanser because I was waiting for Vinland Saga season 2. So I was just kind of still in that. Like when I watched it, I was like, "Oh yeah, it really scratched that itch." But afterwards, I was like,
What a trailer, though. God.
Yeah. Yeah. But man, I had to take some breaks during that movie. I had to be like, this is not moving fast enough for me.
The movie
enjoy.
took some breaks, I think.
Yeah.
It
to
does
enjoy.
some breaks, man.
It was like, oh, he's doing the murder. Oh, this is great. This is fantastic. And he's like, and now I'll wait several more months to exact my revenge. And I'm like, could we skip? Could we skip that? Could we skip it? Could we skip it? But yeah, I mean, it's like the cinematography is beautiful. The acting's it's solid acting all around. There were some spots here and there I was like, don't believe you're this character, but that's fine. You were here for 5 seconds, so I guess that's okay. And again, I like the attempt at the recreation of that epic hero's journey sort of formula, but just giving the grittier take on it. But there was there's just a lot of stuff in there that they could have just thrown away and taken out of the movie, and it would have been probably been an 8, maybe. uh, but no, I'm trying to think of actor names. I'm very terrible with actors' names, but I really did love the slave girl who was like,
Anya Taylor-Joy.
yes, thank you. She was on point the whole movie. The whole movie, she was on point.
I really thought that Ethan Hawke's character was so good in the beginning as the king, and he dies so fast, and he's never back.
Yeah, I thought we were going to go like
it's so boring and dumb, and I don't know.
I think what you guys are saying is that like the Shakespearean part of this movie is what's bad.
I was gonna make. Yep, Kayla gives Shakespeare a 7 out of 10. Yes,
I
yeah,
sure
was gonna
do.
Make that joke.
Sure do.
I think there's good Shakespearean influence, and it can be done very poorly.
I recognize that that's the father of literature and acting and whatever, but he does some weird shit. Weird shit.
And I'm all for weird shit, but Northman was just boring weird shit. I don't know.
I like weird shit too, but I have a line. Oh no.
Men, the best 7 out of 10 movie ever.
I thought about it.
That was a year of 7 out of 10s.
I would probably give that even higher. It's just that one
Me
part
too,
that
probably.
needs to
Me
come
too.
out.
I really like Men.
Yeah, me too.
Men was fun. Mike.
Is it my turn?
I think it is.
I think I got some really good picks, but the one I really want to pick out is something pretty recent, and that's Mad God. It is the Phil Tippett 30-year-long fucking gestating project that he's done. Phil Tippett did a lot of the practical effects for Lucasfilm, I think through the 70s and 80s. And he's been working on this like stop motion epic forever. And the movie's really just fucking gorgeous when he's doing this. It just shows like a soldier deploying downward, kind of like 9 Gates of Hell kind of thing. And Tippett's just creating these wild like planes of existence within like this world that this soldier's going down into. And if it would have just stayed that, like this journey, this soldier's like voiceless journey, like just observing all of this crazy shit going on, it could have been something really good, I think. But man, the movie just doesn't have anything like any kind of plot, really. It just kind of moves on, and then it breaks away from the stop motion. It has live action acting in it mixed with other kind of forms of media, and I do recommend it because it's the best stop motion ever, I think. But as a movie and as just a whole experience, it leaves you kind of like, what was that? What was that about? And I don't know, it's just neat.
Mad God, right?
Mad God.
Mad
yes.
God. Yeah. I remember hearing
Not
that.
for everybody. It's really gory at parts. It's weird kind of sex stuff in it too. So watchers beware for that one. But if you're into like just cool weird stuff, check it out.
Cool, weird stuff.
Is that all of it? Can we do some lightning round?
I gotta do a movie.
Oh, sorry.
I will pick something recent. I will pick Don't Worry, Darling.
Mm,
That's a
good
movie
pick.
that looked so cool, and it looks like it's gonna be weird as fuck, and it is, but it is that thing that does take swings and it does not hit. Nothing like makes sense. You want Chris Pine is like very charming, and he just takes you in, and they set these things up, and then there's like a whole dinner scene where they're like talking back and forth to each other, Florence Pugh and Chris Pine, but it feels like it really doesn't mount out to be anything. Like the twist end made me feel like it was an M. Night Shyamalan movie. It could have been more. I thought it was going to be more. Like we've all said, some of these performances are what like gets us into the movie. We're in it because the performances are great, but the swings that the stories take, or the plots, or not lack thereof plots, don't let it land.
Yeah, I think that's a great pick. I left the movie feeling just about that same way, just being like,
Yeah. It's a movie you can't recommend to everybody. Like, you have to recommend it to like the people here, but I'm not recommending that movie to anybody that I work with. Not a one.
I'd recommend it like to Florence Pugh fans. It's like, you like Florence Pugh? She's doing Florence Pugh stuff in this one, so
Yes.
check out this Florence Pugh movie.
Yeah.
That's who I'd recommend it to.
A
7 out of
beauty,
10.
if you will. A beauty.
I like it.
The Pulitzer Prize is what I'd award.
Yes.
Her.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Yes. Our new
Go on with
award.
your rapid fire, Nelson.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
I got a couple too, so.
Yeah.
For games, I thought like the PS2 era was like the most kind of like quality 7 out of 10 kind of era, I thought. And 2 games from that era really jumped out at me. Shaolin Monks, the Midway 2-player co-op brawler where you played as Liu Kang and Kung Lao, and you kind of just played through the story of Mortal Kombat in a 3D brawler. Pretty cool game. Not great, not that long, not that deep, but fun kind of Midway jam. Midway, the king of 7 out of 10s. And another one, Sega joint, Shinobi, the PS2 Shinobi. I had the demo disc for it. I read like PlayStation Magazine had a huge spread on it with that demo disc, and it had this really cool cinematic flair where if you would kill like 10 enemies within a certain amount of time or like in quick succession, you would do this cool cinematic like Kurosawa-esque like fucking like it would show clips of everyone getting cut in half, and then Shinobi putting his sword away really cool, and just a game with a lot of cool style, but like tough as nails fucking difficulty on it. I never finished it, and just thought it was just a really good 7 out of 10 kind of game. For movies, Prometheus, I love the movie. I think it's dope as fuck, but just how derivative it is of kind of Alien and Ridley's work. I think it's like just a really dope ass 7. I don't mean it in a bad way, but you can't give Prometheus like that high of a score. I think I don't know. Cloverfield, I think, is a really great 7 out of 10.
Yeah.
And Stephen King's War of the Worlds, the Tom Cruise, Dakota Fanning one, I think just has some really great visuals.
Spielberg, I think you meant.
What did I say?
Stephen King. I was like, fuck.
Steven Spielberg. Sorry. Steven Spielberg's War of the Worlds. My bad. And I don't know. It's got some really cool. It's just got that awesome. Like it gets off to the races really fast. Shit's going down. I like that kind of we need to get the fuck out of here kind of movie. And this one's pretty good. It's got a batshit crazy Tim Robbins performance near the end of it. There's some really weird character choices with like Tom Cruise's son in the movie, where he just like decides that he wants to fight the alien menace, and they all fucking meet up perfectly at the end. I don't know. I think the ending's kind of too neat and clean. But
Is that the one where he doesn't know how to throw a football, right? Isn't that like Tom Cruise doesn't know how to throw a football or something in that one?
I think it's based because he
it's
he
baseball?
convinces his son to like go out and have a catch. And for TV shows, I just want to say Freakazoid,
Oh man.
the Warner Brothers classic cartoon. For me as a kid, it was awesome. It was my favorite. I really think this is like the nostalgia one for me. Like if I really went back to Freakazoid and I'm being true, it's a 7 out of 10. I bet.
That's a good one.
I hope
man.
it's at least that much.
Freakazoid.
And another sitcom I liked from that era a lot, my last one, is Grounded for Life.
Oh, okay.
It was Donald Lowe played like the dad, and it's just them, I think like in New York or something. And the guy that beats up Michael Cera in Superbad is like they're the kid's weird uncle, and it's really derivative of a lot of the great show. It's not as good as like a 70s show or some the other great stuff at that time. But I really enjoyed watching it. I really thought it was just a good one of those.
It did pretty well too. It got a bunch of seasons, didn't it?
I think so. Maybe 4 or 5.
Yeah, I
If
thought
that.
so.
But not something I would ever want like a reunion special of or something or a reboot. I just liked my cool memory vault version of it.
I had a couple more. I had the Sinking City in video games. Played that a couple years ago, 2-3 years ago. Lovecraftian semi-open world, or like I guess fully open world. It's a weird game. It's one of those took a huge swing because you go into it and it's supposed to be this like detective game set in an H.P. Lovecraft like town. You're like away from the world in this like water drenched city, and you're a detective trying to figure something out. And there's cool like detective mode stuff, Batman-esque, kind of stuff. But it's like this open world city where you can kind of go anywhere and look for clues all over the place. And there's kind of cool tentacle monsters, and the story kind of becomes wild, like a Bloodborne kind of story.
Mm-hmm.
But it was janky as fuck. Like I forget I think it like went completely off sale at one point. Like there were issues with the studio and stuff. Like they went out of business and lost the rights to it, or it was real weird. It was a weird situation with that, and it's just real janky, but like I think it does some cool horror stuff. I think it does some cool detective stuff, and it's an open world in like a survival horror game, which like just isn't like a normal thing. So it's taken a lot of swings, but it's janky. It's real janky as fuck. But yeah, The Sinking City. I also had The Walking Dead, Kayla. Good pull on that in shows. And then I had a couple movies. I had Zack Snyder's The Justice League. I think it's like higher. It's probably like an 8 for me, actually. I really enjoyed it, but like it's no more than a 7 for everyone else because it's like 4 hours, and it's part of a series that just is like it doesn't exist anymore, so it's not going anywhere, but it's setting up a whole universe. But there's just some really cool shit. The after credits stuff where they show Jared Leto's Joker's actually cool for 5 minutes. Like, so that's really good. Like they did that. They rehabilitated Jared Leto's Joker. But it's evil Superman and everything else, and it like pays off. I think everything that they were trying to do with all the Superman stuff, the Batman stuff of that time. They're all there. Flash and Aquaman and Wonder Woman, and it's rated R. And I want more rated R superhero shit. Logan's fantastic. And I like the super violent stuff in this as well. Like Wonder Woman just straight up is killing dudes, like turning them into bloody heaps. And it's cool. It's cool to see like these superheroes using their superpowers in And what happens when that, like, she's got a sword and a shield and super strength, and she's fighting dudes with guns. Like, she's gonna chop off their arms and she's gonna bash in their faces and stuff. And like, I don't know, it's cool. But it's also 4 hours long, so you know. And Demolition Man, an oldie but a goodie.
Fuck off.
Man,
Murder, death, kill. Murder, death, kill.
It's not a good movie. But it's a fun fucking movie. Like its vision of the future is now completely silly, and it also I always put it up against The Fifth Element, which they're like similar time frames. They both came out. They both had visions of like the future, and I just think like The Fifth Element's more charming in a lot of ways. And just like for whatever reason,
the Fifth Element.
I just think they're very similar movies, and I just like one a lot better, you know. And but Demolition Man, like, it's not to put down Demolition Man. I think it's a cool concept. I think like it's peak Wesley Snipes. Like it's he's fantastic in it. Stallone's Stallone, and he's fine. Like, I think Stallone's a fish out of water in our world, so him going into the like future works really well. And yeah, its vision of the future is a lot of fun. But the whole like, oh, the world's gonna be too PC in 2020 or whatever it's set. Like some of it's a little like cringy now, but I don't know. It's cool. It's a great concept movie at very least. Demolition Man. And Rotten Tomatoes agrees with me on that one. I think it's like a 68% or something. I think that's the only one I looked up. But go check out Demolition Man, folks. Kayla or D, did you guys have any other nominees?
Also had Days Gone on my list. Stray on my list.
Stray is a straight up 7 out of 10.
Yeah.
For shows,
Hard to agree.
I also had Shameless and Community. Just ones that just aren't as good as Shameless. It just went on too long. It ended for me at this point, and they went on for like 4 more seasons. So it gets that against it. And then Community was just it doesn't hold up well. I only just watched it. It does have some cringy, just I don't know. Joel McHale is not my favorite. So
yeah.
Movies, I only had like pretty recent things. We watched that Tetris movie, and that's a pretty solid 7.
Tetris
it does some like fun stuff.
Yeah.
But it's real confusing because obviously they're like, I don't know, stealing stuff, not stealing stuff, making deals. I don't know. I was very confused at what actually happened in it. But Taron Egerton was a joy to watch. So, we haven't seen the final Creed, but the first 2 Creed, I put Creed franchise. Hopefully, it feels like Creed 3 is a 7 as well. Creed 3?
Oh man, Creed 1's really good, I thought. I liked it a lot.
Yeah. I loved Creed. So
they were pretty average for me. Nothing too exciting. And we watched them kind of close together, so maybe I just kind of they are one. I don't know. And then I had Uncharted, the movie.
I think that's a great pull. I think that is a 7 as hell. Yeah.
That's a movie I probably would recommend to my coworkers, but maybe not y'all.
Right.
All right. That's fair. That's fair.
I think that's right.
When Eric mentioned The Sinking City, it made me think of The Forgotten City, which I think is just a straight up 7 out of 10 as fuck game. Does some really cool ideas with the loop thing, but it's got a lot of jank wrapped around it too, and sometimes doesn't always have the most clever or philosophically sound thing to say, but sometimes it does, I think, and is pretty good.
Mike, they rhymed Karen with Charon.
Yeah, I know. They did
Brilliant.
it. The boatman. Yes.
Oh.
What about you, D? Anything you wanted to add?
I mean, I just wanted to just name off some because I still wanted to address one thing that was brought up right at the beginning. So
Oh, boy.
I'll start with games and I'll end with TV just so I can bring it up. So games, Army of Two, just solid 7, solid
Good call.
7.
Good call.
And then I have Force Unleashed 1 and 2. Potential to be
Yes.
more, but there was just so much jank. There's so much bad story decisions. It couldn't pull itself out, even with 2 games. And then Kingdom Hearts, the series overall, is a 7 out of 10.
I
You're
thought
brave,
about
D.
Kingdom Hearts.
You're
Yeah.
brave for saying that.
I love Kingdom Hearts. Like I know. I love it. But I also know what it is. I know what it is. I know what it is. You don't have to tell me.
I've come to grips with Assassin's Creed, and you've come to grips with Kingdom Hearts. I think this is therapy right now. This is good.
Hey, you know what? You're right. And we gotta grow. Anyway, I just had a couple movies. One was the Underworld series, which it could, again, it's another one that was like, oh, it could have been so good. It could have been so good. But then I don't know what they were doing. I don't understand. I literally don't. And then one that's just personally a 10 out of 10, but definitely is a 7 out of 10 movie is The Proposal.
That's a 10.
Oh, Kayla loves that movie.
No, don't get it. It's a 10 for me, but I've heard a lot of people not saying it was a 10, which I don't understand.
Nice.
As far as rom-com goes, that's at least like the one of the best.
Oh yeah, on a rom-com scale, definitely a 10. Definitely a 10. Okay, and then for TV, I have The 100 on here. Archer from FX, and then the one I didn't say was Arrowverse because it got mentioned in the beginning. And as much as I want to say, oh yeah, these specific seasons, no. The whole thing, it's a contained universe. It is a full 7 out of 10, despite any spikes in quality here and there, for crossover events or any kind of shenanigans like that. I think it is just that's why it was there for so long. It's just solid. It's just a very solid TV series. They made it work, for that format. Even with the shows being like sometimes way too long, they could have been shorter episodes for some of these series. Yeah, I don't know. I personally would just rank it higher because my enjoyment was worlds different. I loved Green Arrow just being Batman. That was my favorite part. They just said he's Batman now. It was great. It's fantastic. But it is a 7. It's a 7 out of 10 for sure.
I love it. That's what I want people to say about this pod. It's great. It's fantastic. 7 out of 10. That's all I really want. That's all I really want.
It's good. We say these things are good.
It means they can recommend it to a friend. I like it. I like it. That was a good time, guys. That was a lot of fun going through the 7 out of 10s. Hope you guys enjoyed it out there as well. Go ahead and rate us on your podcast app. If there's an option for 7 out of 10, go a little higher if you could. That'd be cool if you went like 9 or 10. I think those are the ones that like the apps want to see, or like 5 stars or whatever. I never say that. Like, go ahead and rate us. If you're listening, go ahead and press those buttons on the apps. We're everywhere. Listen to us on a couple different apps. boost those
Do
numbers.
it. Do it now.
Do it
Listen-
now.
Listen on 2 apps at the same time. Just do it.
Yeah,
Buy
speed
a
up
Zune
one.
off eBay and fucking download us on a Zune. All right.
It is fun. I can see like the different like ways that people listen and like through different apps and stuff. And I don't think I've seen Zune yet, but we'll
You
see.
never will.
We'll see. That's how we know we made it. I don't know if we're on Zune, but we're on social media. We're at The Machine of Nonsense everywhere: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We're all over the place. We got Monstars, our fan group. Go ahead and weigh in. What are your favorite 7 out of 10s? We're asking the questions. You guys are providing the answers, and send it in an email if you want. That's machineofnonsense@gmail.com. And if you want to leave us your voice and tell us what your favorite 7 out of 10s are, that's anchor.fm/machine of nonsense. I think now it takes you to podcasts for Spotify or Spotify for podcasts. I don't know. It's all owned by Spotify now. They own the world. But you could still get there. Anchor.fm/machine of nonsense and leave us a voicemail. We'd love to hear from you. That's it. That was episode 123 of The Machine Nonsense. Just thinking right now we should have waited to 124 because you know what? That adds up to 7. I fucked that up, guys. I fucked that up.
You fucking god.
A real 7 out of 10 move.
Real 7
that.
out of 10 move. Oh, well,
Big swing.
I took a big swing. Thank you. Yeah. We are getting out of here, and we're saying goodbye.
Bye.
789.